or doing anything yet? Because it says that the stream has started. There it starts. Alright. So let's see how this thing does tonight. I'm hoping that the live stream works out pretty good tonight, because we're in the little studio setup here, and fingers crossed everything works a little faster and a little smoother tonight, so we'll see. Alright, so tonight I really want to wait and get a few people in here, because there's this is kind of a topic that I think is going to be important, and so I'm hoping we can get some people in here. I'll wait just a few minutes, and if we don't get many people in here, I'll go ahead and get into it, and then as you guys come in, you can kind of go back later and look at it. So but I've had I've just had this kind of urge to talk about this stuff for the past couple of weeks, past month probably, and it's just something that I feel like I need to talk to everybody about with the current situation, everything going on in the world right now, and I think it's important for us to talk about it. So I'll go ahead, like I said, I'll wait a couple more minutes and see if anybody gets on here. And I know I didn't really set this thing up ahead of time like I normally do, because I kind of wanted the stream to go smooth, and normally when I set it up ahead of time, it doesn't go smooth. So I'm hoping that you guys will see this and start coming in here. I hope everybody's had a good week. It's been a hot one here, for sure. Well, I don't know how many people we're going to get tonight, since I didn't go ahead and set this thing up ahead of time. So I'll just go ahead and get into it, and you guys can go back and catch up later and kind of look at it. But so, as the main screen said, know what you don't know, prepping for survival. Now, I know you guys are thinking, like, how in the hell can I know what I don't know? And I know that sounds kind of silly, it sounds ridiculous, but the idea behind it is, it's recognizing the things that you don't know about, prepping, recognizing the things that you need to learn, or you need to prepare for. So that's kind of what knowing what you don't know is really, that's what it's all about. And knowing what you don't know could really save your life in the long run. So we're going to roll the intro real quick, and then we'll get back to it. Okay. So, knowing what you don't know. And actually, I've actually tried to become a little more prepared for this. I feel kind of like Dave on the Tonight Show. You know, I've got my little papers and stuff here in front of me, but I did try to really prepare for this because I don't want to ramble on and lose you guys. So, just kind of stick with me here, and I'm gonna just go through these points how I've got them written down, and hopefully you guys can get a little something out of this. So, you know, I don't do politics on my channel. I haven't done that before, and I plan to continue that trend. I don't do politics on the channel because it's so divisive. Everybody has their own opinion, and you know, your opinion and my opinion may be different, and it's okay. It's okay for you to have your own opinion. But I think we all have to realize, and we all have to really recognize that we're living in uncertain times right now, with the foreign conflicts going on right now. You know, Kabul, Afghanistan, the conflicts that's kind of looming with China, that sort of stuff. Hey, what's up, Zach? Zach said he loves the flag. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We worked a lot this week to try to get this set up. I hope everything sounds good and is looking good. So, but getting back to it, you know, it worries me that we, you know, the times that we're living in. My kids are having to grow up in it. I've got a granddaughter that's having to grow up in it. And, you know, with all these foreign conflicts that we're looking at that's possible coming, you know, China, we get a lot of our medicines, and, well, we all know we get most of our product from China. And, you know, China's getting fired up right now. And it could easily at some point come down to you having to actually survive because we don't have the medicines. We don't have the toilet paper. Hell, toilet paper. Look what happened at the beginning of the pandemic. What's up, Bushcraft, Ted Survival's in the house. But look what happened at the beginning of the pandemic. We ran out of toilet paper. People freaked out, and we completely ran out of toilet paper. And that was just the beginning of the pandemic. We didn't know what was going on. People panicked. And so we ran out of supplies, you know, real quick like that. And you just think about if China decided, you know what, we're pissed at the U.S., and we're going to shut off supplies. We're not going to send anything anymore. Imagine how quick the supplies would run out here. We don't produce anything hardly. The supply train would run out so fast, it would hit us like a ton of bricks, and the stores would be empty in a matter of probably, I would say, less than 2 weeks. You probably wouldn't have anything on the shelves anymore. And so that's kind of what I mean when I talk about know what you don't know. You have to be prepared for these things, and you have to have that long-term mentality to be prepared for it if it does come. Now, I know I'm a conspiracy nut. I watch too many end of the world post-apocalyptic type stuff and listen to too many post-apocalyptic books and stuff. But it's important for us to recognize that these things are actually possible. These things could actually happen. just, I mean, as something as simple as the price of fuel skyrocketing. What happens if, fuel gets so expensive you can't afford it? What happens if, there was talk a while back of the semi drivers going on strike? Just imagine the semi drivers going on strike and how fast the stores would run out of supplies. So you think about that stuff, you start wrapping your head around, holy crap, if this stuff happens, how much do you have in your house for food, for supplies, and things like that? The FEMA says that you should be stored up food for 2 weeks. I think that's ridiculous. You should have a minimum probably of 3 months of actual food rations in your house. I think that is the minimum that you really should have. Now, we don't always have that. We don't all have the luxury to have that. But I think that's what you should be striving for. And the essentials is what you need to start with. You need to start with all your non-perishable stuff, canned food stuff. I don't think that everybody's going to want to eat rice, but rice is an easy thing to store. Just things like that, your non-perishable stuff, canned foods, and just keep a rotating stock of that. But, the time to prepare for stuff like this is ahead of time. That's why we call it preparing. It's, you have to prepare for stuff. And if not, you're going to be behind the 8 ball with everybody else rushing to the stores hoping that you can get the stuff that you need in a timely manner while it's still in stock. If everybody's going to do that, the chances of you being able to get what you need to last for a good while is going to be slim. So that, all this stuff is leading up to what I'm talking about, the know what you don't know. So we're moving forward, we're getting into it, but this is all setting you up for why I think that you need to know what you don't know. So how can you be prepared? So I kind of set this thing up into basically 4 steps, and that's dumbing it down, and I hate to sound that way, but that's dumbing it down to a very, very simple way of thinking about it. But so step 1 is going to be evaluating your current situation. So you need to evaluate your health. Right now, myself, I'm overweight. I know for a fact that I need to lose some weight, and I'm not healthy. So if hey Jesse, Zach said he ordered a flag just like this one. That's awesome. But let's say things did go down, and it's hard to get food. Okay, so I'm gonna lose weight fast when it starts to get time to start hunkering down. But what about the folks that are already slim? They're gonna struggle when your calories drop from, we average, okay, let's just go from a basic what they say you should eat, not what I eat, the 2,000 calories a day. So let's say things get really bad and now you're down to 1,200 calories a day. You're down to 1,000 calories a day. That's starving to death calories for someone who is already thin. So that's kind of the health side of it. But like your supplies, your stores, you need to go ahead, like I said, and start stocking that stuff up. If you have to wait to stock all that stuff up, you're going to be in trouble when it comes time. And I kind of look at things in a grand, it's all gonna end. The EMP or solar flare or something like that's going to take us out, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something like that. It could be something as simple as, the government saying, hey, now I know everybody's ears just went up when I said that, because I'm not anti-government. I am pro-constitutional government. Right here. That's what I'm talking about. The second protects the first. Okay, that's my political rant for now. But it could, just let's just say that the government tightens down on everything, and the government tightens down on it so far that we start a revolution, or what they would consider a revolt. So they'd shut down your communications, they'd shut down your debit cards, they'd shut down the internet, that kind of stuff. When that happens, you're not going to be able to run up to the store and get supplies anymore. You're not going to have. How many of you have cash? We don't carry a lot of cash. Everybody's on the plastic. So you're not going to be able to run to the store and get supplies. So you better be prepared ahead of time with supplies. Meds, that's another thing. We've all got our meds, and some of your prescription meds, you're not going to be able to get long-term meds for that. And some people are going to be in a lot of trouble when that happens. And, life-saving drugs, heart medicines, your, like, insulins, things like that. If something like this happened, it would be a terrible thing, but that's going to be life-altering events for a lot of people. And I'm not saying this to try to be scary or to try to freak people out. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because I want everybody to prepare as much as you can. And you need to know what you don't know. So, let's see, like, you stock up on things like the food that I talked about. But what about your water? You need to have a way to procure water. You need to know that in advance. You need to know where you can get your water from. We have sources of water around here, but it would have to be filtered. We have water filters. We can do that, but there are a lot of people that don't. If the power goes out and you have all electric, they shut the power down, the grid's down. You can't boil your water unless you're going to get out here and build a fire every day and boil a lot of water. That's a lot of work. A water filter really is the way to go. And a very simple one is the Sawyer. I think the thing will go up to 100,000 gallons or something like that. That's a lot of water. But you can easily make the 5-gallon bucket Berkey filters. Simple to make, and you can, easily do 5 gallons at a time. So, food, water, weapons, that's the other thing. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to run out and stockpile all this stuff. That's going to be your own personal thoughts and beliefs. But I can tell you this. When it goes down and you have to hunt for your food, you think about it. Everybody else is going to be hunting for that food too. So, if you can grow a garden, we grow a garden. If you can grow a garden, you're going to have to protect that garden. You got to protect those sources of food that are your sources of food that you fought for, that you grew. Somebody's going to have to protect that. And we're going to get more into that here in just a little bit in another step. But, those things are, your food, water procurement, the weapons, the ammunition. That stuff, all of those things kind of tie together when you think about it, because you got to protect your stores. You got to be able to hunt for your food. That food boosts your other food and makes your other food last longer. So, New York Defiant said he believes it's already happening 3 cents at a time. And I believe you. I 100% believe that. And the thing the thing where what really got me thinking about it is not the price of fuel so much. It really slapped me in the face the other day when I looked at the price of meats. The price of meats it's astronomical right now. And I know that it has a lot to do with I hate to even use the word, but with the pandemic, and I say I hate to use the word because a lot of times if you use that word, YouTube wants to take the video down and all that stuff. So if they do, they do. But, people weren't at work. The meat, the packing plants, they weren't running at full capacity. All those things that kind of kept us from being able to do the things daily to keep the supplies going. And now we're kind of at the end of that, where all the things that weren't butchered and weren't packaged then, it's slowly catching up to us. But do I think that the prices are necessarily going to go back down? Maybe. But what if they don't? Look at the price of toilet paper. Everybody went out and just mass bought up all this toilet paper. And I know I've used that as an example before, but just think about that. If everybody goes and buys up all this toilet paper, then everybody should have plenty of toilet paper. The supply and demand would make you believe that after everybody has all these stockpiles of toilet paper at home, the demand is going to be lower and the price would balance itself out and come back down, but it hasn't. It hasn't. And you go look at the toilet paper prices right now. What used to cost you, $3 or $4 for a pack is $16 or $17. And it's not because the demand is still, super high. They're clearing the shelves every day. That's not it anymore. So they were able to get that money for it, and therefore the price has stayed up there. And that's what worries me about the price of meat. It's going to be, in the future, if the prices keep getting there, it's going to be, beans and rice for dinner. Vic, New York Defiant, said it was cans of beans for him. Usually 89 cents, now steadily over $1. And that's what I'm talking about. These are all of your daily supplies that you have to have, and it's just getting more and more expensive. And so it's gonna get harder and harder to get this stuff. So I said I wasn't gonna ramble, but here I am rambling. And some of the things that you think about, you're gonna have to really balance your needs versus your wants. Now, I want steak, I want pork chops, I want chicken and all that stuff, and I plan to keep doing that as long as we can. But you gotta, for the long term, you have to think about your canned foods and your non-perishables and stuff like that. So now we get into kind of the step 2 is evaluate your abilities and your resources. And what I mean by that is, so we talked about the food, we talked about the water, but now your abilities, you have to evaluate your abilities. So we talked about evaluate your current situation in step 1. But now we need to talk about evaluate your abilities and your resources. So if you're in an area that you can't procure water, you don't have water close to you, what are you going to do? You're either going to have to stockpile a crap ton of water, or you have to start thinking about what happens in that situation. You're not living without water. So you're going to end up having to leave and go somewhere where you can procure water. Food. We stockpile food. Well, I don't want to say stockpile. That sounds terrible. We prep. So we have a stock of food. But when you talk about evaluating your abilities, Um, let's see. I'm trying to, you know, I can hunt. I can fish. Um, I can do those things. We garden, but there's other abilities that I have that my wife has, um, that will benefit us if it all goes down. You know, by trade I'm a horseshoer, but that means I blacksmith. You know, I can make knives. I can make tools. Um, I have, the ability to make things that we need. Not everything we need, but I have the ability to make some things we need. Sarah does she makes soaps, artisan soaps and stuff. So she can make soaps and stuff for us as long as she has the supplies to do it. But she also does the macrame and things like that, which you don't think about it so much in a survival situation, but that in itself is a skill that could come in handy if we had to have certain things that she could make. Um, I grew up with my dad building houses, so I can, you know, in general, I can do construction type stuff. Um, you know, if I had to, I could take materials from around here and build a small shelter. Now, we have shelter. We have a house. And so that's kind of secondary to think about. But when it comes down, your abilities and your resources. If I didn't have those abilities, but I had other resources, and I knew that somebody down the road knew how to do blacksmithing or knew how to do gardening and knew how to do things like that, that's where you're going to get into bartering and things like that. And you would be able to trade out work or, things that you can make, and you barter for the things that you need. So that step 2 is going to be evaluating your abilities and your resources. So around here, we know we have the water. We've got woods and stuff around here we could hunt. Let's see. We can maintain our shelter here. I know that. We can protect ourselves. We have the tools to protect ourselves, the family, supplies. Medical knowledge, that's another big thing. I don't have the medical knowledge. I'm not good with blood. If I got cut really bad, I'd be in trouble because I would pass out and bleed to death. But Sarah has a medical background. We have that here in the house. And so we're really lucky, but let's say you don't have that. You need to know who in the area has that. And that's going to kind of get us to well, actually, we'll deal with that here in a second. But you do need to know how to do your basic first aid, CPR, things like that. We all need to know that and have those abilities. So step number 3 in this whole thing. Let me look through this thing real quick. Jesse says we all have to learn a trade. I feel like, yeah, I agree with that. We have to learn a trade because it would benefit you in the long run to be able to do something with your hands, because if it all goes down, those are going to be the things that are going to be super important. If you're an accountant and everything falls apart, if all you've ever done was crunch numbers, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Maybe you can count somebody's beans or something, I don't know, but you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So you really need to know how to do something with your hands. So I agree with the learning a trade, even if it's just as a hobby. Even if you just say, hey, you know what if I need to do some plumbing at the house? Jesse's a plumber. You learn how to do some plumbing. you learn how to hunt, you learn how to fish. I'm not the greatest fisherman. You guys are watching my videos, but the fishing that you guys have seen me do is like bass fishing and stuff like that. For me, that's fun, but I know for a fact that if it came down to it, I can set out bush hooks and I can catch something for dinner. I know how to procure fish and food. So that's going to be, that to me, those things, and you're right, learning how to do that trade or a skill. And Vic from New York Defiant, he says skills are a commodity, and that's true. Step number 3 is going to be honestly evaluating and recognizing your shortcomings, and that kind of ties into the first 2. So this is kind of where it's gonna get painful. You're gonna have to really look down deep and be honest with yourself, be honest with your family, because in the long run, those people are the ones that you're trying to protect. You're trying to take care of your family. So don't overestimate your knowledge and ability to be macho or to seem smarter than you are to other people. You need to be honest. Like I said, I can hunt. I don't hunt a lot. Hunting is a perishable skill. When you learn how to hunt, you practice hunting, you get better at hunting. You fish, you get better at fishing the more you fish. Those skills over time will go away, and then you'll have to relearn them, and that learning curve can be huge. And really, when it all goes down, those skills right there, that learning curve might kill you. And I know that sounds like completely just crazy, but it's the truth. So we have to be honest about our abilities, and that's where we kind of get into the know what you don't know. So this step number 3 is really where we get into the know what you don't know, because I don't know. Like, let me back up there. I know how to do the fishing. I know how to do hunting. But hunting takes a lot of work. Fishing, I can go out and set bush hooks, and that's that thing can be working while I'm doing something else. But so can trapping. I don't know anything about trapping. But trapping is another one of those things that, that's something that you can set those traps out, and it can be working for you while you're doing something else. And so I know that that's my shortcoming. That's one of my shortcomings. And that's something that I need to do something about. Everybody's first kind of instinct, and it's just because it's the society we live in now, it's instant gratification. You can grab your phone, you can hit Google, you can hit whatever your search engine is, and you can look up, hey, what's the best kind of trap for this, or what's the best way to do that. But in a situation that I'm talking about, all your communications are down, the internet's down, in kind of a post-apocalypse, if that's what you want to look at it, situation, you're not going to be able to have that right at your fingertips. I know that. I know one of my shortcomings is trapping. Right here, I have bought the Trapper's Bible. Now, is that something that's going to save my life? Maybe not, but it might. I've got information right here in a hard, not so hard, but in a form that's not going to go away. These, all the stuff in this book right here, as long as I protect this book, this information is right here. And so, for instance, there's another thing right here I was going to show you. Like I said, I do, I hunt. I can hunt. We've done videos on talking about the pellet gun for survival video. You can hunt squirrels with a pellet gun. In this magazine, it's got the squirrel hunting the old way. And in here it talks about, using different or making different calls. Just there's a lot of information in here, and this is the Backwoodsman's magazine. I think that's a good magazine to really look into. There's a lot of good information in there. But that's what I'm talking about when I say know what you don't know. I don't know the medical stuff. Sarah knows the medical stuff. I know that a lady right over here from us, she is a nurse. I know that. There is a lot of people. Well, the lady across the street from us over there, she's going to school for nursing. And the medical side of it, that's something I don't know, but I know who does know. And we've kind of got that covered here. So, but let's say you don't know how to do construction. You don't know how to hunt. Those are things that you need to have at least some hardcover stuff on how to cover those things. Get you a Construction for Dummies book or something like that. Just something. Just have something set aside. And it's such a simple thing to do. Just have it, who knows what you're going to need, and it might be in one of those books one day, and it might save you. The other thing that I would like to learn how to do that I don't know how to do is making nets. And that's something that I think, as far as fishing, if you can set up gill nets, that's another thing that, now I know there's, people who think that kind of stuff is wrong. But in a survival situation, when it comes down to me and my wife or my family starving to death, I'm putting gill nets out. I'm going to put traps out. I don't care. You guys can get your feelings hurt if you want to about it. But when it comes down to having food, we're going to have food. So, that's what I mean when I'm talking about knowing what you don't know and being honest with yourself and with your family. Don't let your macho-ness, don't let that kind of stuff really put your family in a bad situation. Let me look at this thing here real quick. I definitely need to keep community in mind. Need to know who knows how to do what. That is going to tie into my last step, the step number 4. And, that's a perfect transition right there. And Bushcraft Ted says, we all have our shortcomings. He says, wild edibles and navigation. That's another thing that I'm not the greatest at, wild edibles. But you know what I do have? I've got a book on wild edibles. What I also have? Backyard medicine. I don't know if we'll ever get to a point where you can't go get Tylenol, you can't go get aspirin. But in that book right there, it tells you how you can make pain relievers out of different medicines. That stuff is super important. And that's exactly right, though. We all have our shortcomings, but we have to be able to recognize those things, honestly recognize those things. Here's another thing. Now, these are kind of cool. And you can see this one is all eaten up. We got this one at a antique bookstore. But these are the Foxfire books. I want to get the whole set. This is the only one I've got. I want to get all of the Foxfire books. I want to say there's 9 or 10 of them. But these books right here have literally so much information in them about the old way that things were done. So this one, literally, I'll just kind of go through and tell you what this thing has in it. It's got all kind of craziness in here. So it's got a section on knife making, on wood carving, fiddle making, on how to make a wooden sled, gardening, bird traps, deadfalls, and rabbit boxes. It's got a section on horse trading, on making tar, logging, on water systems, on how to make berry buckets, cheese making. It's got all kind of stuff in here. These books are, I mean, if you could get a whole set of these books, there's a life of knowledge in these books. And no amount of shutting the power down is going to take this stuff away from you. It's right here. You can touch it. It's tangible. So, but like I said, Vic said that you need to, keep community in mind. So that's going to tie into my last step here. And my last step is going to be networking to fill the gaps. Now, do I think that you should go around and tell your neighbors, hey, I'm a prepper and I'm trying to figure out who's got the best skills that I could come to in a time of need? No. Don't do that. When you go around telling people you're a prepper, they immediately think, this guy's crazy. They start watching you and think you're on some sort of watch list or something. But when it all comes down, that's going to go, bing! Wait a minute. Sean said he's a prepper, which I know it sounds ridiculous for me to tell you guys don't tell people you're a prepper. And here I am blasting it all over YouTube that we prep. But don't do what I do. Do what you do. But yeah, don't go around telling everybody that, because people don't need to know what you have. But here's something else, and it's gonna get into a little off topic here, real quick. But while you're networking, you know your neighbors, you know the ones that you could go to and count on, and you know the ones that you probably need to stay away from. We all know those people. But know who in your neighborhood has the skills that you may need. Know who the guy who is good at gardening in your neighborhood. I would love to live next door to my buddy Quentin. Quentin. That guy is incredible when it comes to gardening. I would be in his garden in the middle of the night, every night, stealing stuff. Because I'm not going to starve to death. That's just how it is. Quentin would probably shoot me too. But know who in your neighborhood is good at gardening. Know the guy in your neighborhood that runs the plumbing truck. You never know when that guy might come in handy to help you. He might have pipes to help you run some sort of water line, drain line, something. Just know the people in your neighborhood that have the skills and kind of network that. Don't necessarily, like I say, don't go out of your way to say, hey, if the crap hits the fan, can I count on you to put a tourniquet on me and put in some stitches? Don't do that. But know the person that could do that. Just that networking, just, you need to know who has the skills to survive. You need to, in your neighborhood, you're going to know anyway, basically, who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. I feel like if you're honest with yourself, you're going to know who has the skills to survive and who's not going to have the skills to survive. So, Heath is here, Frontier Survival. Good to see you. So, that's basically what I had. So, let's see. Let me go through this one more time. Yeah, and getting back to these books, I kind of got a little sidetracked there. You can't know everything that you're going to need to know. It's impossible. It's just, I know everything I need to know, but you are probably not going to know everything you need to know. I just got it up here. But I'm just kidding. But, these books, that's kind of where I got to these books. You don't have to know everything. That's one thing that I think is important too. Um, Surrounding yourself with the right people, even like at work, in your day-to-day life. You don't have to know everything. You have to know where to get the information. Um, so if somebody down the street knows how to do something, and you can kind of just tap them for a little knowledge, they don't maybe they don't have to come down and do something for you. Maybe they can just give you the answer you need. Knowing how to get that knowledge, that's one thing that my dad always taught us growing up, is that if somebody else can do something, you can do it. But it's just a matter of learning how to do it. It's a matter of getting that knowledge. That person has knowledge that you don't have. That doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. That just means that you need the knowledge that they have. And that's just, that's something that Dad always kind of instilled in us. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. And that's kind of how I've always lived my life. If there's something I need done, I hate to ask somebody else to do it. I love to be able to just grab it and do it myself, or learn how to do it, figure it out. Maybe not so much with mechanicking anymore. I don't have the patience for mechanicking anymore. I'd rather burn the vehicle down than try to fix it. But that's kind of how I got into wanting to talk about the books and stuff. Now, I kind of wanted to toss you guys onto something. Zach said books are the post-apocalyptic Google, and that's actually a great way to look at it. I'm not saying that you need to run out and get a whole encyclopedia if you ever knew where to find one of those anymore. I'm not saying that you need to do that, but there are certain things that are going to save your life in a post-apocalyptic type world. Now, I know I sound crazy talking about that, but it could happen. It could absolutely happen, and it may not be the end of the world type scenario that I'm talking about. It could be something as simple as another pandemic where they just shut everything down, say you cannot leave your property. They could try that, and it would probably be very bad for everyone in a lot of different ways. I'm not going to get into that, but I think we all know, how that could get bad. So basically, I just want you to think about that. Know what you don't know. I know this kind of went all around the barn to get back to that, but knowing what you don't know is the main thing I want you to take from this. Be honest about your abilities. Figure out how to fill in the weak spots. Network with people. Network with your neighbors. Learn those people that have the skills you need. So that's basically going to be it for tonight. I just kind of had this on my mind for the last couple weeks, and I really wanted to just talk with you guys about it. And most of you guys on here, I can see it already. You have the mentality that you're going to be fine, but you just have to, this just some things that I wanted to talk to you about, and you just have to know what you don't know, and that's what I want you to take away from this video tonight. And you guys, everybody on here has put out some great information and comments and stuff, and I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all you guys being here. That's right, Vic. Vic said, I can hear kids asking, what's a Dewey Decimal System? My children, I know for a fact that my children wouldn't know what the Dewey Decimal System is. If you put them in a library like that and said, okay, go find this book, and gave them the Dewey Decimal System to go find it, you can hang it up. Not going to happen. Titan Preparedness is in the house. he said, good to see you. It's good to see you too, Brian. I appreciate you stepping in, man. If you would, Titan Preparedness channel, he's got a lot of good videos on like bug out bags, and he actually goes and tests those bags out and stuff. Go check out his channel. Go check out Frontier Survival. He's got some really good live streams. Bushcraft Ted, his channel is building. So go check out these guys. Vic, I don't even know. Vic, are you even making videos anymore, man? You need to crack down and start making some videos. Unless I just haven't seen them, in which case I probably just stuck my foot in my mouth. Bushcraft Ted said, we appreciate your input on the topic. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert in anything. I never claimed to be an expert, but these are just the ramblings of a madman, kind of. But, you know, I do listen to a lot of stuff, and, you know, fiction has a lot of basis in reality, and when you look at the current situation, and China is the big one for me. It's not even North Korea, Iran, stuff like that. China's the one that really gets me worried when they're starting to get fired up. Zach said he's checking out. Yeah, man, I'm hoping to see you at Salt Springs on Saturday. Vic said no. He's not making videos anymore. You need to get back to it, Vic. Vic made some good videos from up in New York, and that's another thing right there. That's a whole different topic. You know, if you live in the city, all of the things that you need to do are completely different from the things that I have to do, because everything has to be thought of in a different way. And but that's what I mean. These steps, though, these steps right here, they'll work for Vic in New York. He has to know what he doesn't know. He has to know how to evaluate his current situation, all those things. So this is a good way for everybody to just kind of go through, evaluate all of your stuff, and come up with a good plan, and just know what you don't know. Titan Preparedness, I hate to miss so much of it. Yeah, go rewatch it and leave some good comments below, Brian. I know you've got a lot of good insight on this. New York Defiant said, check out Titan Preparedness 5 Preppers to Stay Away From. That's a good video. Yeah, that's a good video. So, and I'm probably one of those 5 preppers, to be honest with you. But that's okay. Stay away from me if you have to. But I want to say thank you for watching this video. I know I've kind of rambled on for a long time. I want to say thank you for watching this. I know you guys have all subscribed, but for those of you who may be watching this later, if you haven't subscribed yet, if I haven't completely freaked you out, hit the subscribe button. If you guys haven't already, like this video. All of you guys know that the likes and stuff like that, they really help the channel out and push these videos out. So I appreciate all you guys watching this video. I'll see you next time.